hiring tips and processes, or just the interviewing process. So once you apply for internships, you will typically hear from the HR department, human resources, if you don't know what that means. Or in some cases, someone directly from the department will contact you, but usually it's going to be the HR department. So if you are not in the habit of checking your email like obsessively like I do, I'm not saying get obsessed with checking your email, but make sure you're checking your email, because like from that first email you get from HR, they're like looking at you. And if you don't respond in a timely manner, like I would say 1 business day, like you just gotta stay on it. So you will get an email from HR. Okay, so this is not the whole process, but once you do schedule your interview, while you're in the interview, I really want to make sure that you guys are prepped for, like, you know, things I wish I knew while I was interviewing for internships. Number 1, ask questions. Like, the interviewer is not the only one who can ask questions. The interview is a conversation. It's not a one person is testing you. It's a conversation, and that's the way you should look at it. So in normal conversations, both parties usually ask questions and interact. So there are some questions that I really want to be sure that you guys know that you can ask and should ask. So something I really want to make sure that you guys are advocating for yourselves and making sure you can get the most out of your internship. So you can ask, what is an example of a project that I will be completing in this internship? This makes sure that you're not just going to be doing coffee runs, but that there are, you know, projects and things that you're actually going to be contributing. And it's also good for you to know, like, okay, that's an example of a project. Is that something that I would like to do? What does a typical day look like for this intern? So maybe you're going to be doing a mixture of projects, but also, you know, some administrative filing and, you know, things that other people don't want to do. Like, honestly, you're going to probably have to do some of that. But that's why it's important to ask that first one about like a project, because you want to make sure that you're getting something out of it, but also you want to know what a typical day is going to look like. You just want to ask that right away. What are the hours of the internship? This is really important too. I think when I was 18, all I wanted to do was just give myself to a company and do whatever they wanted. And I was going to work hard, and it's going to be the best. And I will give my life to them. Well, that's great and all. And you should be really, really dedicated, but you're going to want to know what the hours are. It seems like so minute, but like I was working 12-hour days, and I didn't know that I would be doing that for one of my internships. So you should know what you're getting into, and try to be able to set boundaries for yourself, because there may be examples of people being able to take advantage of interns in terms of like unpaid work labor. So advocate for yourself. Make sure you're knowing what is what. Is this internship paid? That is not wrong to ask. Actually, it's right to ask. It is correct. You should ask if it's paid. If it doesn't say on like the job description if it's paid or not, you need to ask them that. If it's not, you should ask if there are other amenities or incentives that that they offer to interns. So, you know, do they pay for your parking? Do they, you know, give you a stipend for, you know, specific things? Do they give you mileage money for like gas, basically gas money, mileage reimbursements? They're like, you need to make sure that that's something you talk about, because if you don't, they're just going to not address it and take advantage of you. So, and like I said, advocate for yourself. And it's not wrong to bring these things up. It may seem like these questions would be something that I'd be afraid to ask when I was interviewing, but because like I never wanted to come off as like pushy or like stubborn or like, you know, I'm only going to do it if it's paid. But actually that's something that people ask. That's a normal point of conversation in an interview. So please be aware of that. So after the interview is over, but before you hang up, make sure you ask what the timeline is for the hiring process. So you should leave the interview knowing exactly when you will hear from them and what the next steps are. So you should say, okay, great, thank you so much. The last thing I want to ask is just about timeline, and they will tell you, okay, well, we are currently interviewing other people. Ask if there's going to be another interview or like a second interview, or if they're going to go directly to hiring. You should know exactly like where you are in the process and what will happen next. Because I think the biggest thing that I think I would walk away from the interview not knowing is like, okay, great, the interview went well. Okay, so like what now? So you need to make sure that you ask them, what now? Okay, reflection. What's another example of a question you can ask in the interview?